This story takes place 27 years after the First Corporate War. The Nest by Sean Carrière. Chapter 39. Laura was standing by the stairs, aiming her shotgun upward. The wheelwoman had ignored the blasts from Sam's automatic shotgun behind her as she kept looking out for any bad guys who might approach from upstairs. Unfortunately, if you're busy looking up, you miss seeing what's coming from below. Laura had failed to notice a raccoon-sized rat come up from the basement. The ugly thing had spotted the wheelwoman from around the elevator and begun scurrying toward her. Luckily, Kyle had spotted the rat and blown it away with a well-aimed 10mm round. The scout rat's body seemed to implode before flying backwards and splattering across the floor and against the nearest wall. Laura saw the monstrous rodent disintegrate less than 2 meters away from her, and the sight of it nearly caused her to drop her gun.
What the fuck?
Laura shrieked into her suit's helmet, loud enough for even Kyle to hear. The wheelwoman turned around just in time to see Kyle sliding a plastic jerrycan across the smooth marble floor toward her like a curling stone.
"Laura, grab that and get up to the roof,"
she heard Kyle say over her suit's radio. The wheelwoman kept hold of her shotgun with one hand as she picked up the jerrycan with the other. She then made her way up the stairs as quickly as she could under the weight of her radiation suit and the fuel container. Once Laura had disappeared up the stairs, Kyle looked over at Sam and saw he was grabbing more flashbangs from their stack of gear.
"You too, Sam,"
Kyle said into his suit's radio as he aimed his submachine gun back at the stairs again, this time to cover his teammate.
"You got it, boss,"
the breacher answered as he ran toward the stairwell. Sam must have been half-pack mule since he moved nimbly despite the weight of his suit, his gun, the twin drums of extra ammo, and Lord knows what else he was carrying. As soon as the breacher had disappeared up the stairs, Kyle moved away from the oak doors. The young bounty hunter kept his GAC pointed at the stairs as he walked toward the center of the room.
"Bench press. Take the girl up to the roof with the others,"
Kyle said into his suit's radio as he kept the beam of his tack light focused on the stairs leading down to the basement.
"What about you, boss?"
Bench press asked.
"I'm going to fetch our other prisoner."
Kyle answered.
"Just get moving, big man."
Mouse felt the big friendly bounty hunter adjusting his weight, and she figured this was her chance to make a break for it. The little bomb maker slipped out from under the massive hand and jumped to her feet. In her gloved right hand, she held the utility dagger she'd swiped earlier. Mouse then waved the knife threateningly at the big man. She didn't want to cut him. She just wanted him and his boss to back off.
Get back.
Mouse shouted as she waved the blade back and forth. Bench press took a step back before grabbing another chair to help him keep his balance. Kyle turned around, saw what was going on, and pointed his submachine gun at the girl.
Get the hell away from me.
Mouse shouted as she kept waving the dagger. Kyle was only 3 meters from their girl prisoner. He aimed his GAC at the visor of Mouse's helmet, but he didn't pull the trigger. Instead, the young bounty hunter activated his tack light, blinding her with the powerful beam. Mouse waved the blade in wider arcs as she shielded her eyes with her free hand. She still needed to get to her improvised firebomb, and she remembered where it was located. The device was on the freestanding counter at her 6 o'clock, just over 4 meters away. The lil bomb maker kicked the chair behind her out of the way before stepping backwards.
Stay back. Don't touch me.
Mouse shouted. Kyle didn't let up. He kept shining his tack light into the visor of the girl's helmet. Mouse had almost reached the freestanding counter when she felt a large hand grab her right wrist, and nearly half of her forearm along with it. Despite his concussion, the big friendly bounty hunter had flanked around the half-blinded little bomb maker and grabbed her knife hand. Before Mouse could switch the weapon to her left hand, bench press gave her right wrist and forearm a good squeeze. The big man had tremendous grip strength, but he applied only enough pressure to cause pain without injury. The little bombmaker's right hand opened automatically, and the knife fell to the floor. With their girl prisoner disarmed, Kyle deactivated the tac light and lowered his weapon.
Nice work, big man.
Kyle said to the team's medic.
Now, get up to the roof.
The young bounty hunter turned back around and aimed his weapon at the stairwell again. That's when he saw dozens of rats come scurrying up from the basement and moving across the marble floor toward the three of them. Kyle's thumb flicked the selector switch above his GAC's trigger assembly from semi-automatic to 3-round bursts. A fraction of a second later, his forefinger squeezed the trigger 3 times. The submachine gun barked. Luckily, the rodents were moving in a tight formation, allowing all 9 rounds to find targets. Several rats were blown apart across the marble floor, but a few stragglers had scurried off in different directions. That's when Kyle noticed several more rats rushing up from the basement. The GAC spit more hot lead before running out of ammo.
Bench press, get up those stairs. I'll cover you.
Kyle shouted over his suit's radio. Then, in under 2 seconds, the young bounty hunter ejected the spent magazine and slapped a fresh one home before pulling the bolt. The submachine gun barked. 10mm rounds blew apart more rats than Kyle could count and, like a leaf blower of death, cleared a path for bench press all the way to the stairwell. Bench press ran clumsily toward the stairwell, ignoring the countless rats he saw ahead of him as they were torn apart by Kyle's fire. The big man picked up the pace and reached the stairs a lot quicker than he thought he could. He then grabbed the banister with his free hand and climbed 2 steps at a time. Mouse felt like a ragdoll as the big friendly bounty hunter carried her under his arm. She was facing backwards and was treated to the sight of countless dead rats littering the floor. Mouse then raised her head as best she could and looked to the back of the bank. The last thing she saw as bench press carried her up the stairs was Danny Blue standing just within the bank's vault. The bastard was pulling the door closed and locking himself inside.